Okay, sir. So we're preparing for the State of the Nation address. Is there any one particular metric or indicator that the president is going to focus on? And what would you say the Filipinos look at in terms of something to give? Because we're hearing things on either side. There are the glass half full, and there are those na glass half empty. Ano ba? Where do we start?
Definitely, it's a glass half full. No? Let's begin with the macro. And the macro, we've seen a consistently growing and relatively fast-growing economy. We've been growing over 6% average for the past 15 quarters, hindi 15 months, 15 quarters. And if you look at further back, and that's about over 80 quarters of positive growth. In other words, we have surpassed already the boom and bust up and down cycle of the Philippines. No longer that cyclical, and our growth trajectory is consistently going up now. So we're very confident that this trajectory will simply continue, given all the reforms that we're doing, and the numbers are speaking for themselves. We've been seeing over 6%, and this year we still expect over 6% growth, despite the 5.6 in the first quarter, because as we all know, it was affected by delayed budget passage, that in effect affected also our ability to continue spending behind government investment projects. So it has a big impact, and we have a catch-up plan. So at the same time, we are expecting a continuation in growth in all the other sectors, services and industry. I noticed in the introduction, agriculture is challenged, but there is also a requirement. We're as an economic cluster, we meet, and we're basically planning on how agriculture can also catch up and go down to drill down on the basics of how they can really catch up in terms of production, productivity, using R&D, etc. So that they can really catch up in terms of growth in volume. And as we know, when we have to build on agriculture, because aside from utilizing those commodities and products themselves, they will also be used in the processing, in the manufacturing. So yung agribusiness manufacturing is also one of the major sectors we're promoting in this inclusive industrialization strategy that we're working on. So looking at also employment, unemployment has gone down to 5.1. It used to be, as you know, over 6% in the past years. Think about 8 or 9 years ago. That over 6% now has been down 5.3, and the last quarter is 5.1. So maganda yung number. Plus, part of that 5.1% reduction, it's also due to the increase in the self-employed. If you look at the numbers, so self-employed, this will be, I would also say, has a positive impact on micro SME. They are now surfacing, they are registering, so they're now forming part of the formal economy. So even in terms of the number of micro SMEs, we've seen them really, it has grown from 900,000 in the PSA statistics. Latest numbers we're getting as we compile all the registrations sa mga LGUs, 1.5 million na ang registrations. So that's in a span of about 3 to 4 years. Okay. So maganda yung, there's a lot of other indications on. So that's on unemployment, underemployment, the quality of job. When you have a job and you're still looking for a job, that's not a quality job, diba? So that's underemployment. So that number used to be over 19%. Now it's down to 13.5%. So in effect, parang we would like to present it. In fact, we sort of simplify also the job of DTI, trabaho, negosyo, consumer protection. So sa trabaho, negosyo, trabaho is, we're talking about investments. Investments also, we've shown in the Board of Investments approved record level for the past 50 years. In 2017, 617 billion pesos. In 2018, 915 billion pesos. So almost a trillion. So that investment translates to jobs. So sabi natin, trabaho. Tapos yung aside kung walang trabaho, hanap ng the 5.1%, they can also go into business.
Okay.
So things like those, so a lot of positive indicators, and recent survey shows also self-rated poverty has gone down to 38%, and even if you look at the PSA poverty number from 27% to 21%, and of course our target is 14%. So with a lot of activities that calls for inclusive growth, micro SME development, growth in the countryside, pushing growth outside Metro Manila, we see further improvement in this indicator, especially on the poverty incidence, which after, in all this that we're doing, our president really would like to see the quality of life, especially those at the bottom of the pyramid, really improve. So our task really is how do we always, whenever we do a policy or a project, it has to benefit yung mga kababayan na nasa baba.